Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. We had only been together a short time, but I genuinely believed things were flawless. She made me feel wanted, appreciated, and finally understood. We spent countless nights talking about our dreams, imagining a future together, building memories I thought would last years, maybe even a lifetime. But I had no idea that one small disagreement would tear everything apart and reveal who she truly was beneath the surface. It was supposed to be a normal evening. I came home from work exhausted but glad to see her. She barely looked at me, her attention glued to her phone, her expression distant. When I asked if she was okay, she brushed it off with a simple, "I'm fine," but I could tell something was off. When I gently pushed for an explanation, a tiny misunderstanding suddenly exploded into our first real argument. It wasn't even about anything serious, just stress and miscommunication mixed together. But her reaction came out of nowhere. Instead of trying to talk through it, she snapped. Her tone turned icy, her words sharp, and before I could process what was happening, she said something that hit me harder than anything I'd heard before. "You know what? I'm going back to my ex." Everything stopped. For a second I just stared at her, waiting, hoping she'd say she didn't mean it. But she didn't. She just looked at me with this strange mix of anger and satisfaction, like hurting me was the goal. I let out a hollow laugh, not out of humor but disbelief. After all our late-night talks, all the affection, all the promises, she was willing to toss it away over a single disagreement? I asked if she was serious, and she folded her arms and replied, "Maybe I never should have left him. At least he knew how to handle me." Something inside me broke, but something else hardened. Yes, it hurt. Deeply. But behind that pain was a sudden clarity. I didn't need to cling to someone who could abandon me the moment things weren't perfect. If she could say something like that so easily, she was never truly with me in the first place. I could have argued, yelled, tried to convince her to stay. Instead, I quietly walked to the bedroom and started packing my things. The second she saw the suitcase, her attitude changed. She rushed after me, asking what I was doing. I told her calmly that if she wanted to go back to her ex, then she was free to do so, but I wasn't sticking around to fight for someone's attention like a contestant in a game. I refused to compete with her past. I refused to beg for her love. Her expression shifted from smugness to panic. She hadn't expected me to leave. She thought her words would make me chase her, prove how much I cared. But she underestimated me. I zipped my bag, met her eyes one last time and said, "One day you'll understand what you threw away, but I won't be here when you do." Then I walked out, leaving her in stunned silence. Driving away, my chest felt heavy but strangely relieved. Yes, the betrayal hurt. But staying would have meant living with constant insecurity, always wondering if the next argument would send her back to someone else. Love isn't supposed to be something you win by competing. And it sure isn't supposed to break at the very first sign of conflict. The days after were rough. I won't pretend they weren't. I missed the good moments. I missed her warmth, her smile. But every time those memories pulled at me, I also remembered the look she had when she said those words, the coldness, the intentional cruelty. That kept me strong. A few weeks later, her messages began. First short ones. Then longer ones. Then calls. Apologies. Explanations. Regrets. She said she'd only spoken out of anger, that she missed me, that she wanted another chance. I never replied. Not out of hatred, out of self-respect. A relationship built on emotional threats, on weaponizing insecurities, isn't a relationship at all. Walking away was the most painful decision I've ever made, but also the most necessary. Sometimes the first real argument shows you everything you need to know. Sometimes it reveals that a person's heart was never fully with you. She said she'd go back to her ex, and that was enough for me. I left for good, and I never turned back. Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers.